All right, Ms. Mays, you may continue.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. And Ms. Riker, just to continue, I believe there's one that I neglected to ask you about. That's Defense Exhibit 39 regarding Mira.
Yes, ma'am. That was for math, and that is the same measure that I spoke of earlier called MAP, where it's measure of academic progress, and that shows that she actually had the highest MAP gain for math as well in first grade.
And that June 3rd, 2013 would be the last day?
That would have been,
first grade school?
yes, ma'am, the end of her year with Ms. Lee.
All right. And you also identified what is States 224, which is now in evidence. I'm going to ask you what is shown in this photograph and what this is from.
That was included in our yearbook for the school year 14-15. That was just a tribute to all three of the Jones children that we could include so that all of our students would have a memory of them, and it just really kind of reflects each one of them. We didn't, from what I remember, I don't think we had another photograph of Natan because it was so early in the school year that year. You can see Mara with a very special friend of hers, a child that she enjoyed playing with an awful lot, and then Eli with a classmate, and that was just his personality. He was always explaining something. I'm sure he was telling her all about something. And then I think the other inset is probably something, a piece of work that Natan had completed and we included since we didn't have another photograph. Just a memory, a tribute to those students in our yearbook so that all of our students could remember them.
All right. And in addition to this tribute, can you tell us whether or not there was a unique tribute for the Jones children inside of your school?
We did. One of our teachers, Ms. Carolyn Steele, who actually taught Eli in kindergarten, she was also a wonderful artist. So it became a goal of ours to create a space in our school where we could memorialize the children. So because they had a great fondness and love for the beach, we decided to go with a beach theme, and she created a mural that pretty much encompassed the entire learning commons throughout, especially one unique area. We called it Jones Beach. It had a little sign that said Jones Beach and several other spaces that made it a very comfortable spot for our students to go and get a book and go read and reflect.
In the library. I'm going to show you those photographs now, Ms. Ricard, and ask you if you can take us through what we're looking at. This is States 226.
And that was the sign that Ms. Steele created. It just says, "Welcome to Jones Beach," and then it has, I think it says 7 Habits Lane, if I can read that from here.
And what 7 Habits Lane, why is that unique to your school?
Well, because we were, a Leader in Me school, and the 7 Habits just really drives the culture and the climate at the school, and we use 7 Habits language throughout the day with the students to help them achieve their leadership traits and hopefully push them forward.
Right. I'm going to show you what is States 227.
It's a very sentimental and special quote that Ms. Steele chose to include on the wall, and then you can see along the bottom of the wall, along the little walkway, there are 5 sets of footsteps that represent each one of the Jones children.
228.
And that's the quote that I was speaking of. It was a quote that we chose to represent the memories that we have of the children.
229.
That was one of the areas that we used, just kind of a little reading nook for our students to be able to go in.
I'm going to show you 230 at the same time.
Yeah, books were purchased, and donated in memory of the students so they could go in and climb up in a boat and read books there, or sit along the beach and read books.
231.
And that was another little beachy area. They could climb up in the lifeguard chair and read a book or sit along, again, the ocean area, I guess you would say.
And why was the beach theme selected for this mural of the Jones children?
They always talked about loving the beach, enjoyed going to the beach. When the turtle in the pocket incident happened, Eli had told me that he got the turtle from the beach. So we just knew that they seemed to enjoy going to the beach. So that was why that theme was selected.
232.
That particular part of the mural was where we had decided that we would have a space to designate for the children, and because we had such a good memory of Eli and his turtle, we chose turtles to represent the children. So each one of the children were represented with a turtle, and Ms. Steele named each one of the turtles by one of the children's names.
Real? Eli. 234.
I can't read it from here. My eyes are not that grand, but again, one of the turtles for one of the children.
235.
And the same.
236.
And that looks like Natan.
Having identified what is 223 being the leadership notebook of Mira Jones, it's in evidence. Ms. Ricard, having been familiar with Mira for those 3 years, I'm going to ask you to step down and share some of the contents of this notebook. I'm going to just ask you to keep your voice up loud enough for Joy to hear you.
Okay, so this was from second grade, and this was one of her writings. It says, "Once upon a time, there was a little zebra who lived in a beautiful castle." So I feel sure that was just the beginning of one of her writing pieces. And then her third grade year, which was the very beginning of the school year 2014-15, she had a teacher by the name of Miss Nettles. So she had begun a letter to her. It says, "Dear Miss Nettles, I am an intelligent little girl, and I am scared of ghosts."
And Ms. Ricard, you spoke of the change in Mira academically between that first grade and second grade. I'm going to show you this document and ask you to share it with us.
So that looks like it was what we call wildly important goals. They had we called it their WIG, and it was just what they identified as being their goals, an academic or a personal goal. So you can kind of see what that looks like, and then to show her growth.
And did she say what she wanted to do?
It says that her wildly important goal was obviously to be a ballerina. She said, "I like ballet because it is important to me. It's fun."
All right. And then how did that change between that first grade year to her second grade year?
I think you can obviously see that there was great growth in writing, not only in the neatness of it, but in the volume. So for second grade, her personal mission statement, which was a part of what they did in their leadership notebooks, it says, "I will be a fantastic daughter. I will be a helpful sister. I will be a super student. Every day I will do my work and make good grades. When I grow up, I want to be a nurse."
familiar with the bucket filler?
So for second grade teacher, a lot of what she talked about was how they could fill each other's buckets, saying kind things, being helpful to one another. So she was a bucket filler because she was loving, she was nice, she used nice words, she gave lots of hugs, and she was always helping. And that describes her.
Ms. Ricard, are there special booklets that the children do as part of their first grade year?
Most of the time, teachers would have like a first grade booklet or something that they can kind of remember those first few days of school or put together at the end of the year. That looks like it was one that Ms. Lee made that was probably a compilation of work over her first grade year.
All right, so this would be states 338 in evidence, and if you could take us through this.
So that was from the first day of school. She did a picture of each of her children. So that was Mara on her first day of school, and then a little poem that went along with it. She included writing, saying,
Can you tell us whether what you have seen in terms of what Mira has expressed truly represents her unique characteristics?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. You may return. Ms. Wright, can you tell us about your bond with Eli Jones?
I got to know Eli when he was in kindergarten. He had just a few little hiccups, just little things that we needed to work on behaviorally. He was a special little fellow and really just wanted to please, worked hard to make friends. Everybody loved him. We worked on a few little things. Sometimes he put things in his pockets that didn't belong to him, but we always tried to turn those into teachable moments. Whenever he was in first grade, I had begun to do some Read to Succeed coursework. So for one of my courses, we were asked to choose a student that would be a focus student. And I knew that was going to be difficult for me, being that I was not a classroom teacher. I was an administrator, but I knew that I had to fill the requirement. So I went to Ms. Moran, who was his kindergarten teacher. I had spent a lot of time in her classroom that year, and I knew that Eli was having some difficulties with his reading. And since I already had such a strong relationship with him and a bond, I thought that he would be a student that I could easily work with because we would already have that rapport with one another. And I chose him because I knew that he was in a home where there were 5 children, and I felt like he probably did not get as much help at home as he could have, and I knew it was a single parent situation as well, and that there was no mother in the home, so I had hoped that I could fill a little bit of that maternal void as well. So he and I worked together that semester. We worked on strategies that he could use in his reading, and just tried to really look at his reading process, what he was doing well, what he still needed to work on, what his strengths were. It was a wonderful experience, and I have precious memories.
I'm going to show you an item and ask you if you recognize it. It states 237.
Yes, ma'am.
Does it bear your initials?
Yes, ma'am.
This would be 237 for evidence.
237 with objection.
And Miss Moran, was she first grade?
Ms. Moran was first grade, yes, ma'am.
And did you have the occasion to work one-on-one with Eli as part of that project you just mentioned?
I did, and that was part of what the coursework required. Multiple times I had to, remove him from the classroom, and we would go either out into the hallway or sometimes to my office or to another space just so that we could have some quiet workspace. And he would sometimes choose books to bring to read. Sometimes it might be a situation where I just ask him questions about reading and about how he felt about reading, if he thought he was a good reader. So really just taking the time to get to know him as a reader, and where he was in his reading process and how he was developing as a reader. And I got to know a lot about him personally as well.
Did he appear to enjoy that time?
Oh, he loved it. He looked forward to it. And it was, he always lit up whenever I would come to the door to get him. We both looked forward to it.
A spoon of does the E say anything?
The E's not going to say anything in that word, and the vowel that comes before it is what letter? What letter comes before the E?
I.
Look at that word. What letter do you see? You've got G and L, and I heard you stretch that out. Excuse us.
Thank you.
It says G, U, and then what other sound can that next letter make?
Gula.
It can make the sound, but it can also make its long sound. What's the long sound of that letter?
Gula.
G, U,
Glass.
U, glue. The letter U can make its sound. It sounds like its name, U. Okay, so glue.
Glue. A. Camp. Mud.
Good job going back and making that correction, Eli.
Cup of paint.
Good job. The I in that word doesn't say anything, does it? You don't hear it sound.
No. A cup of bugs. A cup of bones.
Yuck.
It's nasty. Bun.
That's a tough one to stretch out. You really can't stretch it out easily. Look at your picture and see if that'll help you figure out that word. Read the rest of the sentence and look at your picture and see if you can figure out what makes sense.
Monster soup.
Now look at your picture.
He's ready to eat.
Now what did he put all of that soup in? What do we usually eat soup out of?
Pot.
A pot. We make soup in a pot, and then you might ladle that soup into a
Bowl.
A bowl. Read that and see if that makes sense.
A bowl of Monster soup.
Does that make sense? Yeah. What did that monster say when he ate that soup?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Would you want to eat monster soup?
No.
Not me either.
Ms. Riker, did that video adequately depict the unique characteristics of Eli Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
My last question to you is about you personally, being someone who had a direct relationship with the children. How did these crimes impact you personally?
They still impact.
Thank you, Ms. Riker.
Friendly and Mira.
That would have been at school.
Yes, this was in Fran's classroom whenever Mira was in first grade. And then this was actually right out at the crosswalk. I'm assuming that would have been when Natan was in kindergarten, but I'm not positive. But they were obviously already in school. That's Natan and Mr. Jones. That would have been at a school function, obviously around Thanksgiving. They always did a Thanksgiving play, so that would have been kindergarten year. And then this could have been a family night. I'm not positive. It looks like it was in Ms. Moran's room, so it would have been when Eli was in first grade, and I recognized some of the other students, so that would have been first grade year for Eli.
Judge, we would move defendants 301 or 304 into evidence.
No objection.
301, 302, 303, 304, defense, all with the objection.
Record 301 is, I think you said Miss Lee.
That was Ms. Lee with Mara, so that would have been at some point during Mara's first grade year.
And 302 are the children in kind of, I guess, the crosswalk.
Right at the front of the school. And like I said, it's either Natan's kindergarten year, or it may have been prior to him being in kindergarten. That one's a little bit difficult for me to tell as far as his age.
303 is Tim and Natan.
That is Mr. Jones and Natan, and that would have been Natan's kindergarten year. The little turkey hats, kind of a giveaway. They always did a kindergarten play.
And then 304.
That looks like it's Ms. Moran's classroom, and like I said, I recognize some of the other folks and students in there, and I'm not sure if that was some type of family night, but that was in Eli's first grade year.
That's all the questions I have.
Yes, Mrs. Mason.
No, sir, Your Honor.
What did Ms. Mason know?
State College Joy Lorick.
Look, come on around. You were born, when you testified earlier, you're still under oath, okay? All right, make yourself comfortable. Remember, speak in the microphone.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lorick.
Good afternoon.
We know you. We saw you earlier.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you currently employed?
I work at Publix in Chapin.
Now, Ms. Lorick, before you were at Publix, you worked childcare.
Oh, yes.
A job you love a lot.
Yes.
You worked with the Jones children in the summer of 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
That last summer, I believe it was roughly late June through July.
July. Yes, ma'am.
You had the Jones children.
Yes.
And then Christina Elke, who also was a babysitter for the Jones children after you,
Yes, ma'am.
that lived next door.
Yes.
She's a friend of yours.
Oh, yes.
So did you have an opportunity to still see the Jones children if you wanted to at any point in time?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to ask you a little bit about Gabriel and Abigail Elaine.
Yes.
So we're too young to be in school.
Yes.
So that summer, who did they spend all day with?
Me.
Tell us about them.
Gabe, oh my goodness, he had a smile that would light up a room. He always wanted to be held all the time, so I would do nothing but hold him, and he just wanted to do everything his older brothers and sisters did. Whatever they did, he wanted to do it. Just a very sweet child, very sweet. Elaine, you know, she very bubbly, sweet baby, wanted to be held to. Just.
What can you tell us about the role of the siblings with those babies?
Mira was my little helper. She always wanted to help with the youngest kids. Regardless if it was changing, like she always wanted to be like, I'll help you change your lane. I want to help feed her. Eli was like that too. She always wanted to help me cook, just anything. So I would call her my little helper. Eli was very overprotective, especially of Elaine, very overprotective of his baby sister. And they referred to her as baby. They would say, it's okay, baby, it's okay.
How did Elaine like being around the older siblings?
Oh, she loved it, especially the attention that they showed her. Eli had this thing where he would like to go get frogs, bugs and frogs. Natan, same thing with his brother, going to get bugs and frogs. And I remember they were saying, Miss Joy, we gonna catch you a frog. And I said, yeah, go catch me a frog. Don't bring it near me, but just go catch me a frog. Just very, just to know these kids and they will have an impact. No matter if you're having a bad day, just being around them.
About Elaine. Was she a happy baby?
Oh, yes, all the time. All the time.
And Gabe?
Gabe, too.
Were they learning to talk yet?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
You've seen some pictures before. I'm going to have you identify them.
Okay.
States 220, 221,
Gabe,
219,
Gabe, Eli, and the ton.
218,
Eli,
270.
Mira with a friend.
All right, give me just one moment.
Okay.
If you could just, to yourself, look over these photographs. I'm going to ask you about those as well. This would be 303, 304, 305, 306, and you recognize 303, 304, and 305,
Yes.
as well as 367, 308, and
Yes.
310.
Yes.
Show you 311, 312, 313, 314. 37,
Okay.
318, 39. Are those photographs also a fair and accurate representation of the children?
Yes.
These will be for evidence at this time, Your Honor.
first, 4. There's 317, 18, 19, 217, 18.
217, Your Honor.
17, 218, 219, 220.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All admitted. 303 through 306, without objection. I think 308, 310, 311, 312, 313, 314, 318, 319, 320, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 367.
It's three, okay, you didn't have 317. I thought I heard 317. Is it 367 or 307? I don't have a 367.
Okay, should be 307.
You're probably figuring it out.
That would fit better in the numbering between 306 and 308.
My handwriting is
Ms. Lorick,
Yes, ma'am.
you told us about Gabe.
Yes,
I'm going to show you some photographs.
that's Gabe. Gabe.
You mentioned Mira's role with her younger siblings.
Yes. That was Mira, Elaine, and Gabe.
318.
That's Mira and Gabe.
221.
Gabe.
That summer, was Elaine walking?
Yes.
321.
That's Elaine. And I don't know who has her hand, but that's Elaine. That's Mira and Elaine.
Ms. Lorick, this photograph here of Mira and Elaine, can you tell us whether or not it accurately depicts the relationship you observed between the two of them?
Yes. That's Mira and Elaine.
322. $323.
That is Mira and Elaine, and I think Natan.
$324.
Mira and Elaine.
Ms. Lorick, was there ever a day that you spent with them that you didn't see Mira holding Elaine?
No. Elaine. Natan.
$311.
That is Natan, Eli, and Mira.
$367.
That is Eli.
$367.
Oh, okay.
It could be 307.
I think it's 307. I don't-
Fits in 307 where it became immoral.
307, Your Honor, correction. 310.
That is Eli and with some friends.
217.
And Mira with a friend.
Ms. Lorick,
Yes.
is it possible for you to tell us, having known each of these children individually as a caregiver,
Yes.
murders have impacted you personally?
Yes. I lost sleep. Right after this, I couldn't sleep. I was still up all night just pacing and walking the floors.
Do you remember when you got that call?
Yes. I just fell in the ground.
Nothing further, Your Honor. No objection.
05 through 23 inclusive, all admitted without objection.
Sir, I'm going to put up some pictures and you just tell me if you can recognize anybody in the pictures, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's Mr. Jones and Gabe. Mr. Jones and Mira. I can't really tell.
It's a little dark on the projector. Let me see. This is defense 307. Can you tell better?
Mr. Jones, and it looks like Gabe.
This is 308.
That looks like Natan. Yes. That is Mira, Gabe, Natan, Elaine, and Eli. Mr. Jones and Elaine. Mr. Jones and Elaine. That looks like Gabe, I'm not too sure.
You know what's all over his face?
Yeah, I can't really tell. I want to say that's Gabe. Mr. Jones, and it looks like Elaine. Mr. Jones, and I can't tell who that is.
This is defense 314. I'm bringing it up to you.
Elaine. That is Mira, Elaine, and it could possibly be Natan in the back. That's Elaine.
That Gabe right here?
I can't really tell because the face is turned, so I don't know if it's Elaine or Gabe.
I think there's two, right? There's Lane
Two.
and
Wow.
Gabe.
Okay. Well, I really can't tell.
Okay.
Mr. Jones and Elaine. Mr. Jones and Elaine. Eli.
And what's Eli got in his hand?
I can't really tell. Frog.
And what's he standing next to? You know what that is?
No. Mr. Jones, it looks like Natan. I can't really tell. The picture's blurry. That looks like Eli, Mr. Jones, Eli, and I think Elaine. I can't really tell.
That you Gabe with a Batman mask?
That could be Gabe. Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
That is Eli, Natan, and Mira.
And do you know where that picture is taken?
No, sir. That is Mira, Natan, and Eli. Mr. Jones and Elaine. Mr. Jones and Natan.
Thank you, Ms. Lane.
May I step down, man?
due to the previous scheduling conference, Your Honor.
Okay, so it's a good time to stop. All right. I'm anticipating a shorter day tomorrow because of witnesses. We'll have several witnesses and the state should finish up and the defense will call several. Some of theirs, the state's moved on quicker than they thought. So we're gonna stop here today. I understand somebody on the jury's got a scheduling conflict, so we'll make that. Put your stuff in the jury room. See you back in the morning, 9 o'clock. Don't talk about the case. Look good.